Thank you, Virginia. Good morning, everyone. We're so pleased to have you join us today for this event, The Blind Experience, Moving Without Limits. My name is Marilyn Baldwin, and I am the chairperson of the Quality Assurance Task Force, which is a subcommittee of the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board. It is my honor to serve as your moderator this morning. And this is kind of like coming home because I'm a former employee with the City of Orlando. Today's program is important for a number of reasons, one of which is the fact that vision impairment is more common than you may know. In fact, according to Florida agencies serving the blind, in Florida alone, an estimated 2 million residents are in need of vision rehabilitation, and I count myself among this population, which is why today's event is near and dear to my heart. First, though, we'll start our event with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Miss Carolyn Campbell. In addition to her advocacy work for persons with disabilities, Carolyn Campbell currently serves as a member of the Orange County Soil and Water Conserve District, representing District 2. Please welcome Miss Carolyn Campbell.
Good morning. Like Marilyn said, I'm Carolyn Campbell. I'm also the first blind elected official. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Carolyn did not mention that she is also a member of the National Federation of the Blind of Central Florida, and she serves on our board of directors. Thank you, Carolyn. Today's event, The Blind Experience, is about gaining perspective and understanding. What's it like to live with vision loss? This is especially important for our elected officials, as it gives them the opportunity to better understand the unique challenges that their vision-impaired constituents face. We are happy that elected officials from around the region are able to join us for this event. Among them are Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, Osceola County Commissioner Vivian Jenner, whom you will hear from in just a few moments. And just before they come, I'd also like to recognize other elected and appointed officials in attendance today. They include Orange County Commissioner Myra Uribe, and if you're here, please stand. Commissioner Uribe serves as chairperson of the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board. Seminole County Commissioner Jay Zimbauer. Thank you. Are there any other elected officials joining us today that I did not call? If so, please stand. Thank you. We're also joined by Florida Department of Transportation District 5 Secretary Jared Perdue. He will speak to us later in the program. Lastly, I'd also like to thank MetroPlan Orlando's Executive Director, Gary Huttman, for being here and for his team's involvement in planning today's event. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer. Mayor Dyer.
Thank you, Marilyn. Good morning, everybody. Nice turnout today. Welcome to Orlando City Hall. So we are excited to host the Blind Experience as part of Mobility Week to raise awareness of the difficulties that visually impaired residents face. As elected officials, we advocate for those who face challenges, and it is our mission to find solutions for those challenges. So there are 45,000 Central Floridians that live with vision difficulties, and those of us who don't have those same difficulties sometimes take for granted being able to cross streets to go and get your cup of coffee or whatever. So we want to proactively address these needs, and as a transportation hub, we want to have equitable mobility options for all. So some of the things we've done are to install automated detection and audible signals at pedestrian crossings, and we are part of the Vision Zero mission, which is to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries to pedestrians in our city by 2040. And some of the things we've done is build and maintain smarter streets that impact drivers' behavior, prioritize areas with high numbers of pedestrians, cyclists, and transit riders for tools to implement safer mobility, and to expand awareness, which is what we are doing today. And we are going to cross Orange Avenue at Anderson Street with blindfolds to be able to simulate what some of our visually impaired individuals go through on a daily basis. And when you step outside, you'll see an Access Links vehicle that is wrapped in honor of Blind Americans Equality Day to promote inclusion and safety. So appreciate the opportunity to have the press here to help us raise awareness around this important issue. And now I would like to introduce Osceola County Commissioner and Metro Plan Orlando Board Chairman Viviana Janer. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Appreciate it. Again, I'm Viviana Janer. I'm the board chair of Metro Plan Orlando. And we plan in Metro Plan the future transportation for Osceola, Orange, and Seminole counties. We're proud to be one of the organizers of the Blind Experience. I'm so happy to be here today because this event is all about empathy. It's about putting ourselves in the shoes of people with visual impairments and showing us what it's like to walk in those shoes. Most importantly, you'll learn how it feels to cross a road when you can't see what's coming. I'm nervous because I haven't done this. This is going to be my first time. So heart racing, breath quickening, and ear straining to see if a 4,000-pound vehicle is nearby. And when you think about an increasing amount of very quiet electric vehicles on the road, it adds just a whole new dimension and level of difficulty. It's vital for us elected officials, planners, and engineers to experience this so we can be more inclusive as we plan our transportation system. When a person who is blind can comfortably walk down our sidewalks and safely cross our streets, everyone in our community benefits. As a past chairwoman of the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board, I know firsthand the importance of safety to people with disabilities. If you're a driver, there's a lot you could do to make Central Florida roads safer. Devote 100% of your focus to the road and always watch for pedestrians. As mentioned earlier, drivers must stop if a person with a white cane is crossing the street. We must take care of each other. Metro Plan Orlando designed the van wrap you see outside that says, "White cane, be kind, stop for the blind." I'm pleased we could partner with Lynx to raise awareness of this essential safety message. Now, I'd like to turn the program over to Secretary Jared Perdue from the Florida Department of Transportation. Have a good morning, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Janer, and hello, everyone. Good morning. Very happy to be here. We're extremely pleased to be working closely with our agency partners and community organizations hosting this event as part of our 6th annual Mobility Week. The event embodies the spirit of Mobility Week, which promotes safe, multimodal transportation choices. Today's event is all about promoting awareness for white cane law and raising awareness to the needs of users who have visual impairments or physical disabilities, and ensuring our roadways are as safe as possible for all users. We often say safety is our highest priority, and we sincerely mean that. In fact, as you heard the mayor mention earlier, our goal is 0 fatalities, which is why we focus our efforts on a comprehensive combination of education, enforcement, engineering, and emergency response countermeasures. We're committed to building a transportation system that not only fits the current needs of Florida's residents and visitors, but also enhances mobility throughout the state to accommodate its consistent and rapid growth. As our state grows and evolves, the public we serve will continue to do the same. With an estimated 2 million Florida residents in need of vision rehabilitation, studies also show that in Florida alone, occurrence of vision loss from eye disorders is expected to more than double in the next 3 decades, which reinforces why it is so important that we must always consider the needs of our community as we plan our future infrastructure. FDOT is committed to continue pushing forward with innovative solutions and educating the public to ensure the safety of all users, regardless of the mode they choose. But safety is absolutely a shared responsibility. By adding in partner collaboration, law enforcement, and each person taking responsibility to make a safe choice in their travels, we will be able to make our facilities safer for all users. White cane safety should be practiced every day, but today our goal is to remind the public that people who are visually impaired deserve the right to arrive at their destinations safely. I look forward to continue to work with partners like you see here today and with each and every one of you, so together as a community we can move the needle on increasing safety for all of Florida's transportation facilities. And with that, I will transition back to Marilyn Baldwin to close out the program.
Thank you, Secretary Perdue. As we move to the next part of the program, I'd like to recognize all of the partners who worked so hard to put this program together. They include the Florida Department of Transportation, Metro Plan Orlando, the City of Orlando, Lynx, Lighthouse of Central Florida, Bike Walk of Central Florida, the National Federation of the Blind, Central Florida Chapter, and the Greater Orlando Council of the Blind. Also, Orange County Public Schools, Miss Diane Luce, who is an orientation and mobility specialist there. Again, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. Once I turn the program over to our next presenter, she will guide us through a brief training and give us further instructions as we move outside for the blind experience. It is my hope that all of the participants will return with a heightened level of awareness of this segment of our community who lives with low vision or no vision at all. The challenges that we face navigating the transportation system and the contributions that we make to the workforce. Diane Luce is a teacher of students with visual impairment and a certified orientation and mobility specialist with Orange County Public Schools. She has enjoyed a nearly 30-year career working with people of all ages, newborns to seniors, who are visually impaired, in addition to providing blindness education to the community. 20 of these service years have been here in Central Florida. Diane, thank you for being here, and we look forward to your remarks.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. This is a wonderful turnout, and we're very excited to have you go through this experience with us. My name is Diane Luce. As an orientation and mobility specialist, I've often said that pedestrians who are visually impaired are some of the safest pedestrians on our streets and sidewalks, and that's because, for one, they access educational services through Orange County Public Schools and nonprofit agencies like Lighthouse Central Florida to learn the specialized skills from instructors like myself that allow them to know how traffic patterns work and how intersection technology works. And they learn how to use tools like the white cane or a guide dog to assist travel. And they don't take chances. They know what the risks are, and they don't take chances. Within Florida, we have the white cane law, and every state in our country has a similar law. And that's the part of the responsibility that drivers have to take, as has been alluded to with the speakers that have been up here so far, that being safe on our streets and sidewalks is a partnership. Individuals who are visually impaired take the responsibility to gain education before they go out and take a risk such as crossing a street. But as drivers, we must take our responsibility as well. In the state of Florida, the white cane law reads as this, and you can follow along. Each of you received a tip card from the Florida Department of Transportation on your seat. Whenever a blind pedestrian is crossing or attempting to cross a public street or highway, guided by a dog guide or carrying in a raised or extended position a cane or walking stick, which is white in color or white tipped with red, the driver of every vehicle approaching the intersection or place where the pedestrian is attempting to cross shall bring his or her vehicle to a full stop before arriving at such intersection or place of crossing, and before proceeding shall take such precautions as may be necessary to avoid injuring such pedestrian. So what does that mean for a driver? Well, there are additional tips on this card. A person crossing the street with a guide dog or a white cane has the right of way. That's the first and most important thing to be aware of. Drivers are required to come to a complete stop at the stop bar, and if no stop bar exists, a minimum of 5 feet before the intersection. Blind people use audible cues to determine when it's safe to cross the street, including the sound of vehicles. Stopping within a crosswalk is illegal and puts blind pedestrians at risk. When turning right, always assess the crosswalk on your side of the street to ensure that blind pedestrians are not crossing, even when you have the green signal. So if you're turning right and looking right, make sure you check to the left to see if anybody is coming down that crosswalk. And then never honk your horn or give blind pedestrians verbal cues. It's well-meaning, but it's confusing to someone who is really just listening to traffic patterns and knows what to do as long as everybody else is doing what they need to do. So that's the responsibility of the person who is visually impaired to become educated, the driver to follow safety, and as Mayor Dyer referred to earlier, the community takes responsibility in establishing technologies and facilities at intersections and sidewalks to allow someone who is visually impaired to have access to the information that will give them the opportunity to make a safe choice about when they cross the street. If you're sighted in the room, you've crossed the street before. Hopefully, you've pressed the button and you've watched for the pedestrian signal to come on. It's a visual signal. It tells you when your opportunity to cross the street occurs. People who are visually impaired don't have firsthand access to that information. And through the spirit of the Americans with Disabilities Act, that's a problem. So communities have responded by installing accessible pedestrian signals. What our accessible pedestrian signals do is give audible, and in this community it's verbal, information about when the pedestrian walk phase is occurring. So what you'll hear at the same time a walk signal, visible walk signal comes on, is you'll hear the accessible pedestrian signal say, walk sign is on to cross Orange Avenue or Anderson Street. It's important to note that it simply says walk sign is on. It's not saying it's safe to cross the street. It's still important, just as it is for a sighted pedestrian, to make your own choices about when it's safe to cross the street, when your opportunity comes up. But without that firsthand information about when the opportunity for the walk phase occurs, visually impaired pedestrians are left to listening to traffic patterns, traffic movement, to determine when it's safe to cross. And again, there are ways that individuals have been doing this for decades, but it is a more challenging and riskier way of determining when it's safe to cross. So we hope that the Central Florida community continues to provide those opportunities to enhance our intersections with the kind of technology that gives that firsthand equal access to all of our pedestrians. So when you go out to the intersection of Anderson and Orange, you'll have the opportunity to see some of those accessible pedestrian signals. You'll hear them. Some of the features that you're going to hear are, first of all, you might notice a constant tone, intermittent but constant. That's called a locator tone. That helps someone who's blind at the corner determine where the push button is, because we don't have regulations for exactly where push buttons are to be located at corners. There are guidelines, but this will help ensure someone who's blind can actually find the push button easily. The push button itself has a raised arrow on it, and that points in the direction of the crosswalk that button is associated with. So that helps a person who's blind with orientation. Once you press the button, you might hear an audible voice saying, "Wait to cross Orange Avenue at Anderson," or something like that. It tells the individual to wait, just like the individual who's who's sighted has the red hand saying it's not time yet. When the walk phase does occur, that's when you get that verbal message I mentioned earlier. Walk sign is on to cross Orange Avenue. Additionally, the devices that we have in Orlando and Orange County have a vibrotactile feature, meaning that when the audible signal comes on, the push button itself actually vibrates, and that's there for people who are visually impaired as well as hearing impaired. And that gives that same equal access to the information necessary for crossing. So look for those features, feel for those features, listen for them when we're out at the intersection. We want you to see and begin to understand how it makes crossing that much easier. The technique that we're going to rely on for everybody crossing the street is called human guide skills. It's often called sighted guide skills, but you don't have to be sighted to be a good guide. Sometimes people who are visually impaired are the best guides. But I'm going to give you a brief demonstration of what human guide skills are. It's very simple. You've probably seen me using it to assist Marilyn to the podium. Marilyn, would you be willing to assist me again? Okay, I'm going to come get you in a moment. I'm just going to tell everybody that what you want to do, if you're under blindfold or you're visually impaired for all intents, you're going to take the arm of the person who's guiding you and hold their arm as if you would be holding a bottle of water, can of soda, in a C grasp. So your fingers on one side and your thumb on the opposite side. And your arm that you're using to hold them with should be at 90 degrees, 90-degree bend. That's going to put you about a half a step behind the person. When you're holding them with that kind of grasp and that arm position, it's easy to follow the movements of the guide. So Marilyn is going to assist me in demonstrating that. So once you're in this position, just move naturally, move together. It's a partnership. If you're under blindfold and you feel like the person guiding you is going too fast, maybe ask them to slow down. But I also encourage you, try to meet a natural pace of walking. Your whole body will relax. You'll feel much more comfortable this way. So let's demonstrate some turns. Okay. Now, if you do come to a location where it's very narrow, maybe there's a crowd of people, there's a lot of us, you can place your arm behind your back, and the person you're guiding will step right behind you, and you kind of like follow the leader's position. You can do your turns. It's not necessary to describe every single thing you encounter as you're walking, but if you do come to a step or a change in level, definitely point that out. Let the person you're guiding know that it's a little bit uneven here, or we have a step down, or as you're approaching the ramp, our instructors will alert you that the level of the ground is going to change. Little things like that can be helpful, but other than that, you should have the opportunity to have a natural conversation about things. Okay? Okay. All right. Thank you, Marilyn. So, along with myself, we have several other certified orientation and mobility specialists who are here to provide you with this opportunity under blindfold today. I'd actually like you all to stand up so everybody knows who you are. Stand up. So this is Juan Barrios from Lighthouse Central, Florida. Benjamin Bosley, also an instructor at Lighthouse Central, Florida. Marielle Honingford, she's an instructor along with me at Orange County Public Schools. And then Allison Bryan is one of our student interns from Florida State University. Go Noles. And they are all here to help guide you across the street. We also have Carolyn Campbell. Miss Carolyn Campbell, who spoke earlier, is also going to be serving as one of our guides today. If you are here to take part in that blindfold experience, what I'm going to direct you to do as we leave the rotunda, some of the individuals here from Metro Plan Orlando and Department of Transportation will have blindfolds available to give to you. We're not sharing blindfolds. Once you take it, it's yours. Keep it, take it home, teach your family sighted guide skills. But take it with you, and we're going to walk from here to the right, down to Anderson and Orange. Feel free to grab the person sitting next to you and say, hey, can I guide you to the intersection? Practice a little bit of that human guide skill that we just demonstrated. When we get to the intersection, we'll make sure to take turns guiding whoever is willing to go with us across the street. Trust me, I promise you, you are in good hands, and you will come away knowing and understanding more, really having more open eyes, so to speak, to the whole experience. So, and then before you leave, please make sure you pick up one of the bags. It has a lot of information in it. So again, Florida Department of Transportation and Metro Plan will have those outside in a cart. I think that's everything. We are going to be out there for a while to answer your questions and provide the experience for you. And again, we're happy to do this, and we thank you for coming.